Good evening. Thank you for joining us here on City Styles. I'm your host, Pegah Ahani, and Happy New Year, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this 2018 2nd of January. I know that you've all had a very busy holiday season, and I appreciate you to tune in here with me tonight. It's 2018, it's a new year, and I'm sure many of us have been thinking about the new year and what we need to do in order to have a more prosperous new year. And for us, in most part, in our culture, in our society, we create resolutions. So, goal setting, planning for the future. And tonight what I want to do is talk to you guys a little bit about resolutions and a few of the topics that surround that. So firstly, I want to go through and if you guys have comments, of course, or questions, please feel free, while I'm talking, to ask questions, and we will definitely answer questions. Or if you have a comment, if you have something to add, let me know. So the first thing I want to kind of talk about when it comes to resolutions is that for me, when people ask me if I have a resolution, I always say no. I don't make resolutions for a new year. I don't create that kind of expectation for myself, because I believe, and this is a matter of opinion, so you don't have to agree with me, that resolutions kind of set us up for failure. And I'm going to explain how and why. So every year, at the end of the year, when it's New Year's, we think of all the things that we need to do in order to improve ourselves. Whether it's in your work life, your relationship, your family life, you want to somehow empower yourself. So the ways that we have been taught to do that aren't always the most progressive ways. So, for example, joining the gym. In 2018, I want to be fit, so I'm going to join the gym, get that gym membership. 2018, I want to dress better, so I'm going to go and buy better clothing. In 2018, I want to start becoming more athletic, so I'm going to join some sort of team. In 2018, I'm going to stop, some bad habits. So these are all good things because you want to improve yourself. You are planning and setting, these standards for yourself. That's great. But the way that we do it is, I think, setting us up for false expectations and unrealistic expectations that we then fall back on, and it becomes a cyclical thing. So it doesn't need to be so finite and absolute. If you look into your, the whys, so how I want to debunk resolutions is saying, instead of choosing one thing and an extreme thing in order for you to, improve yourself, how about creating a very realistic type of expectation that isn't measured by time or by society or by what popular culture says is the right time to do something or the right way to do something. So instead, how about introspectively looking at yourself and really understanding the why? Why do I want a better job? Why do I want to look good? Why do I want a gym membership? Why do I want to become a triathlon runner? Why do I want to become an actor, a singer? I think you need to really look at the question why. So if you can go through this question and think, okay, so why do I want a gym membership? Because I want to lose weight. Why do you want to lose weight? Because I want to look good. Why do you want to look good? Because I want to feel good. Okay, if making you happy is defined by you looking good, okay, and if you can realize that so what drives your desire to look good is to feel good and to feel healthy, then that's a great way for you to plan. Okay, I'm going to join a membership, and then setting realistic goals for yourself. So you would say, instead of saying, you know what, 2018, I'm going to get fit, and by 2019, I'm going to be, my resolution is that I'm going to have, you know, way more body muscle instead of fat, and I'm just going to, you know, be healthier. That's a realistic way. But if you set like some sort of, you know, weight restriction or time restriction on yourself, what you're doing is you're creating an anxiety. So, you know, we have our past, we have our experiences in the past, our childhood, we have the present, and then we have the future. In the past, you might have some negative things that you always go back to for your lessons, for your, you know, for reflecting and thinking, this is what I did in the past and now I want to change it. And the present is always the most difficult, because in our daily lives, we're not always in the moment. We're always either thinking about what we did before that brought us here and what will happen in the future. So that's kind of creating an anxiety about it. So I think that with that being said, what we need to do is, instead of setting up future goals that we might not really have control of, so, you know, first of all, you know, when you go to for example, you go to a job interview or you go somewhere and somebody asks you the question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? To me, that question is a very impossible question to ask, because time could tell anything, you know. So thinking of time as a measurement device in general is, I think, a detriment, because you could be even past your 5-year goal in 5 years, and you know, you could have grown and learned things constantly through that time and changed, you know, multiple times throughout that. So when somebody asks me, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I say, I see myself as happy, healthy, and in the moment, and happy with where I'm at. I mean, that's the ideal thing, right? For me, that would be, if you're going to be answering, you know, what is the ideal situation, I think that would be to be happy, to not have anxiety of something that I have no control over. There's an analogy that I wanted to also use. So when I was thinking about, you know, our generation and, you know, generations before us, and how we always follow tradition and we let tradition guide us, and we allow, you know, kind of what popular culture, tradition, you know, the media and everything, we feed into this ideology that, you know, we need to fix something that we have that's not, you know, 100%. So this culture of inadequacy, you know, from everything from the media and pop culture, constantly telling us that we are inadequate and we need to fix that. We need to fix that inadequacy by either, you know, dressing better, looking better, doing some, you know, aesthetic procedures, you know, going to therapists, going here, going there. Of course, when you look at it, it's always going to be a positive message. But are you thinking about it in a positive way? So your state of mind is very important. Changing your perspective about it and not thinking about, okay, if I don't do this, if I'm not successful, I am a failure. So these ideas perpetuate a negative connotation to everything. That when you measure yourself in a certain span of time, that you're only setting yourself up to fail if you give yourself a time limit, or you give yourself an unrealistic goal compared to something that you cannot resonate with. So just because an Instagram famous star has the money and the resources to become an Instagram famous star, or someone had the opportunity to, you know, do things that are maybe out of your reach, it's not healthy to compare yourself to these influencers. So whether they're media influencers or they're actors or singers and things like that, again, looking into the why. Why do you have this desire? Why do you have this desire to want that? Think about why do you want to be Instagram famous? Why do you want to be an athlete? Why do you want to be a singer? Why do you want to be a reporter? What is the soul and the core belief that stems that? And then don't let the value and the belief of that control you. Let your inner voice and your intuition about it be the one that guides you. So I think that one thing that we need to do is first, we need to listen to our gut. So when we have an initial reaction, it's 99.9% right. Every time you have initial gut reaction, always go with it. And the other thing is, in order for you to understand what your gut's telling you, you need to be better at listening to yourself. So maybe meditating in unorthodox ways. So if you're usually told that you need to meditate in a certain way because that's what you'll come to, no, meditation is a personal thing, and what you take from it is also something that you are experiencing. So once you've come to that introspective kind of conversation with yourself, and getting deeper down to the real question of desire and want, that's when you can really think of, okay, let's forgive the past, let's stop thinking about the future, and let's try to make peace with what is now. So I think that in order for us to do that, because we are such analytical, specimens, we are such, I think, philosophical in so many ways with the way we think about things. We get into, what is the meaning and what is life itself. I think that too. So what I'm trying to say is, become either parts of the extreme are not going to be productive. For example, you want something to be the way it is, and you want it to be right, and you want it to be perfect. But have you really sat down and looked at it and thought, I've done everything I can and checked off everything on the list for me to have this optimal absolute, the ultimate prize, the ultimate, success? My analogy, it's very simple. It's just very, very, simple and easy to understand. You're hungry, you want to have dinner, and you think, I've got a chicken breast in the freezer. I'm going to take this chicken breast and I'm going to just put it, thaw it out, and then, cook it in the stove or in the oven. I'm going to bake it, or I'm going to fry it. And you eat the chicken breast and you're satisfied. Okay, I'm not hungry anymore. But you sat to yourself and you thought, that's not what I was expecting. I was expecting for it to taste better. But you didn't marinate it, you didn't tenderize it, you didn't do anything to the chicken breast to make it taste better. So then you did not do the work in order for you to have the better tasting dinner. You didn't put in the extra work. So if you wanted to have the optimal, outcome, you would have marinated it, and you would have tenderized it, and you would have let it sit for 2 hours, and then you would have cooked it. But you didn't. You just got up and you took the easy way out. So what I'm trying to say is, if you want the optimal outcome, you need to put the work into it. And then when you have your Cajun, marinated chicken and you're eating it, you're thinking, damn, this tastes way better than a regular chicken breast. It's tender, it's juicy, it's tasty. It's what I wanted, and I worked for it, so I got it. So always when you're setting these resolutions or these goals, it's okay to. So I'm not saying it's wrong to set goals. It's just that ask yourself why. Ask yourself, if it is a realistic expectation of yourself, and have you been bombarded with messages from society and culture and family that you need to feel this way about yourself, or is it something that you really want? So ask yourself the question, why? The other thing is feeding into this, this notion that, and I know it's hard to get away from with the media constantly showing us images of what we need to look like, what we need to feel like. We need to be at peace with ourselves. We need to be healthy. We need to be happy. We need to be smiling. We need to be professionals. We need to be, and these are all self-indulging kind of this pseudo-individualist kind of culture where we're fed to fix these inadequacies. You don't have it, you can have it. Just pay and you can do this and you can do that and then you will have it. But because you're not being honest with yourself as to why you want it and why, and are you comparing yourself to someone else? If you are, then you're just setting, again, you're going through that cyclical type of measurement of yourself that's only detrimental. So reflection, realizations, and setting these type of expectations is all. It all happens because we get so caught up in trying to understand our desires. So the other thing that I want to to touch on is it's all right for you to, I guess, to challenge yourself and to also tell yourself that you need to do better. So but it needs to be in a healthy way. So it's state of mind. So your perspective kind of frames how you measure yourself. If you have, this really judgmental, pessimistic, and very harsh, measurement of your own goals, you're not really feeding your self-esteem, and that can cause for you to backlash. So okay, I'm on a diet. Oh my God, I had a muffin. Oh, I'm horrible. Okay, I'll start again tomorrow. Okay, I feel so bad. I feel so guilty. No. Instead of making such an extreme decision and then having to kind of rationalize it and over-rationalize it and then feel guilty and then not forgive yourself, and then so that also can distract you from moving up. So if you just tell yourself that, hey, you know what? I'm going to try to be as healthy as I can. I'm going to work out as much as I can. I'm going to read as many books as I can. I'm going to help others as much as I can. Then you're not setting yourself up for unrealistic expectations, and then you won't have that false hope and that false feeling of guilt and self-sabotage. Okay, so I think that is all the points that I wanted to go through. But I also wanted, before we end this beautiful Tuesday night episode, I wanted to give everyone a kind of message that I think will also help. And that is, if you decide that, you want to do something that would incorporate, that positive atmosphere, and you want to keep a positive mind and a positive perspective towards yourself and your life, do those things that make you happy, do those things that make your heart beat really fast, and do those things that make you blissfully happy. Chase those things, and don't buy into the fear factor, and don't let society tell you that you can't do something because you don't have the predispositions. Okay? I think that we are incredible beings that can do incredible things, and we are constantly being measured and put on certain types of hierarchies, and we need to debunk the whole idea that we need to fix ourselves. You are awesome the way you are, okay? And, if you put a smile on someone else's face, it'll, for 100% sure, I'm sure, it'll make your day better. So if you're looking for a way to make yourself feel like you matter because you think that, you don't matter, or you think that, nobody really cares about me, just walk past a person that's maybe, if they look sad, or if you walk past a person that's sad or crying, ask them if they're okay, try to make them smile. If you walk past a person that looks really upset, smile. They will smile back. If they don't, then they're going through their own trauma, and don't be offended if they don't. But at least you tried, and you made an interaction with another human being. And that love and compassion, traveled kilometers past your heart and into their heart. So remember to not forget your inner child, because that inner child is still there and loves to come out and play. So say hi to your inner child. Spend more time with your family. Listen to the ones that love you most. Listen to yourself. Believe in yourself, and pay it forward. And I'm your host, Pegah Ahani. I hope to see you this Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. It's been a lovely night. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time on City Styles.